What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Peanut Gallery podcast. This is the place that we provide completely unprofessional and insignificant opinions on the most important and significant topics of the day. I'm your host, Jared, and with me, as always, is Seth. Seth, what's going on?
Not a whole lot, man. It's actually been getting pretty cool down here, man. I don't want to get crazy, but I had to get a jacket on this morning because, chilly, man. You know.
For those of you who don't know, Seth lives in the chilling environment of South Florida. So
it's crazy. It was like 70 degrees this morning. I was almost just called off work, and I was like, not going.
Wow.
Too cold.
Dude, you gotta wake up early to start your car so the engine has time to warm up.
Oh yeah, I left it on all night just so it wouldn't freeze, you know. No, but weather's getting nice. Christmas close, man, so close, and the end of this semester for school is almost over. So I'm getting excited, although I have to get through finals, which not super enthusiastic about that. Yeah,
sucks
very much. But yeah, man, you already got your freaking tree up,
dude. I did everything, man. I'm completely decorated.
Because who needs Thanksgiving? Like, let's just.
It's not Thanksgiving yet, but
vault over that.
That's okay, man, because Christmas is better. So it comes first.
I agree.
Thanksgiving's cool too.
Nah,
who cares? All right. Well, let's jump into some new stuff then. Japan recently got hit with a earthquake.
Yeah. So this we're recording this a little bit ahead of time for when it comes out. So this is kind of just happening. I think it happened last night or 2 nights ago. Japan was hit with a 6.9, what is it, level? 6.9 magnitude.
Nailed it.
Earthquake. Nailed it, yeah. Earthquake. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like they're constantly getting hit with earthquakes. But, no, we just wanted to bring this up just so, our thoughts and prayers are going out to them. So far, there hasn't really been any reports of casualties. That is very good. But, I mean, no one wants to get hit with that big of an earthquake. And then, of course, the resulting tsunamis and whatnot that happened from the aftershocks or the earthquake itself. So, yeah, we just wanted to talk about that and just be like, listen.
Just be aware of other stuff going on outside of just your bubble.
Yeah, I mean, you can cry about your safe space, but when someone's house just got destroyed, it's a little bit more important.
How dare you, sir.
Let's go on to the next one, dude.
Okay, so this is great. Seth sent me this link. He follows this stuff like all the time, and this announcement came out. And oh my gosh, I don't even know, man. The Apple Book.
The Apple Book, not the MacBook. Because look, they've had the MacBook.
Hold on. Where do you pre-order? And can I do it right now? Because
I think it's already
out.
Is
amazing. It's already out?
I think it already came out.
Oh my gosh, I want it. I'm gonna leave right now to go.
It's
drive to the mall.
Just ridiculous. All right, so it's $200 or $300, and all it is a book of just pictures of Apple products you probably already have, or you know how to Google and you could just freaking Google the picture. I mean,
But then you can't hold it in your hands.
Sure.
And you can't just rub your hand along that picture of an iPod.
And it is very revolutionary. I mean, it doesn't have a headphone jack. So forward-thinking Apple device.
Dude, I'm just saying they should have made the book thinner, man. They're making all their products thinner. That thing should have been thinner. It's a little thick.
And the battery life, man,
sucks.
Unparalleled. It's going to be great. No, in reality, this is dumb. I know it's going to sell insanely good, though. Like people, all of the artistic people, the people that like design are going to get it and put it on their coffee table. It looks nice. It's very minimalist. Of course, it's Apple. So it looks nice. It doesn't look $300 or $200 nice, but I guess it looks nice. A picture book.
It's insane, dude. I cannot believe that people would spend $200 on a book with pictures. What does it have, like 400? It has like 450 pictures, I think I just saw.
Yeah.
Of just Apple hardware.
Yeah. Some of them look nice, I guess. The pictures look nice.
Well, go buy the book then, and you can look at them all.
I want to ask for it for Christmas. Maybe Santa will give it to me.
Oh, man. All right. Moving on to another interesting thing. We have U.S. government releases the smart gun guidelines. So for those of you guys who don't know, the smart gun is like a pistol grip that you can have on a handgun that takes your handprint and stuff like that and doesn't allow you to fire the firearm unless it's you grabbing the gun, essentially.
Mhm.
All right.
That's what it is right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really
Could
know
change.
what it could evolve into. But yeah, I mean, basically a biometric safety
Yeah.
is what we're talking about here. And while I couldn't find the actual guidelines, probably because I don't know if we're completely privy to them or if they need to get I don't know. But they've come out and they have guidelines for these manufacturers that they're going to ask them to follow. I guess it's not, they don't have to follow, but I guess it's guidelines that they want them to follow. And I think it's good that at least the government is actually seems to be ahead of the curve on at least one thing, which is cool because I mean these really aren't in people's everyday lives at all.
Yeah.
Maybe the military uses them and we just don't know about it, and maybe they have been for years. But in the civilian life, I mean, I've never even been close to seeing
Yeah, I
one.
doubt it. I mean, it would have to be different software because most of the time they wear gloves and stuff like that in the military.
Yeah,
You know?
and I think I read somewhere that it needs to default. One of the things that it needs to default to unlocking it, like it can't lock up.
Oh,
If it does,
yeah.
like if something malfunctions, it needs to default to being ready to fire,
Yeah.
which is a good idea, I think. You don't want it to be like something happened with the computer chip and the gun's like, oh, this is useless.
Yeah. No, I think
But,
it's
I
a cool
think-
option. I wouldn't ever want it to be the only way that people can own firearms is if this mandate
I
is
mean, it
regulated
could be
on it.
really good though. I mean, yeah, the regulation isn't good,
Like-
but the idea of only being able to use a gun if you've bought it and then registered your fingerprint for it is a good idea because then you're going to get rid of, obviously you're going to have the vintage guns, but I mean every gun moving forward was like this. You'd have less crime because someone couldn't just steal your pistol and then go on a rampage or whatever. You could also, like in your house, have it so just your fingerprint works on it, and then maybe your son gets of age and you want to start letting him use it, and you can like maybe have more than one fingerprint that can unlock it. Maybe your spouse can
do
it's
it
I mean
too.
I think there's some interesting things that it could do, and of course it's very much in its infancy,
Yeah.
so we really don't know, but it's cool to see the government being ahead of the curve
You
for this. And
definitely
so I
have
just
to
wa-
be able to have multiple handprints and fingerprints kind of thing.
Yeah.
Being able to
Maybe Apple will get into the smart lock game when you can use your Touch
There you
ID
go.
to
They
unlock
could
your
do
phone.
something useful for once.
It like you pick up your gun and then it dings your phone for the app and you have to say like, oh gosh.
Oh man. Yeah, so gosh, this next story. In Texas, an officer was executed in front of the police station. This sucks.
Yeah, this is very bad. Yeah, man, he was a 20-year vet, and it was I think it was a motorcycle stop, and they think that he was kind of ambushed and shot on the ground, point blank, basically, execution style. They have a picture out for the suspect. We're gonna throw it up on screen now. It's I mean, you kind of want to just forget that this is actually happening because, you know, the media is going to go in and out on if it's a hot topic, should they report on it. But I mean, it sucks that this is still happening. I mean, cops are getting targeted for being cops
Yeah.
because of maybe a couple of bad cops. And so it just sucks, man. A 20-year vet, and yeah.
It totally sucks, man. I mean, it's
Prayers out to his family.
I don't know. This whole conversation just gets my blood boiling, man. Like,
Yeah, we're gonna move on just because we can do a whole video on that. Maybe
will.
we're on in
We'll
a
have to
future
do a video on
segment.
that.
Yeah.
because it's
So so the last thing in the news segment is Tesla just completed a $2.6 billion acquisition of Solar City, which is a solar powered brand company that creates solar panels. Elon Musk has been trying to get the shareholders and everybody to sign on to this acquisition because he really thinks it's going to be very important moving forward. Because right now Tesla makes batteries for electricity, and so he was looking at Solar City, seeing the solar panels and being able to convert solar energy into electricity. And then he can now use his battery packs in order to store the energy and to move closer and closer to that sustainable vision that he has. So I just think it's cool. I love Tesla. I know you have you're not so confident on
Doubts.
them, which is cool. I mean, they really are very early on in their development, and they're a very young company.
Yeah.
Very easy for them to just completely be gone or to cement.
Their technology, though, they're doing really cool stuff.
They are
Musk is
doing awesome
some
stuff.
really, really cool stuff, which will be here in the future. Definitely, I have no doubt
Yes.
about
Yes.
that. And then the last story we're going to talk about a little bit, you probably already heard about it, is the Vice President-elect Pence went to go see Hamilton over the
Broadway show.
Yeah. And basically, so what they did at the end of it is it was after the play. They kind of, the crew and the cast of Hamilton, I think it was one main guy talking, kind of got up and said that they were fearful of the Trump administration and the rights that they are sworn to uphold by the Constitution, that they didn't think that their administration would protect the rights of the minorities, basically.
Yeah, hold on. If you give me a second, I'm going to find the exact quote because I think it's important.
We'll put the link in the description. You guys can check it out. But really, I don't have a problem with anybody exercising their right to free speech. Do you find it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I found the quote. So let me just quickly, just so we can get the whole thing out there. So the quote is, at the end of the show, Dixon, I think he's the main guy, stepped forward and said, we have a guest in the audience this evening, pointing to Trump, and he says, Vice President-elect Pence, I see you walking out, but I hope you will hear us just a few more moments. There's nothing to boo here, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing to boo here. We're all here sharing a story of love. We have a message for you, sir. We hope that you will hear us out. He then goes forward and says, Vice President-elect Pence, we welcome you and we truly thank you for joining us here at Hamilton, an American musical. We really do. We, sir, are the diverse America who are alarmed and anxious that your new administration will not protect us, our planet, our children, our parents, or defend us and uphold our inalienable rights, sir. But we truly hope this show has inspired you to uphold our American values and work on behalf of us all. And all of us, again, we truly thank you for seeing this show, this wonderful American story told by a diverse group of men and women of different colors, creeds, and orientations. So that's what was said.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't know why it's even causing that much of a issue. I don't think anything they said was really
on
out
either
of line.
side, really.
Yeah, I mean, Trump's been going hard at them on Twitter, which, I mean, who gave Trump back his Twitter account? But he's been saying they should apologize.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing.
They're overrated. They suck.
Yeah, and I mean, I really don't think you can argue that they suck. I mean, it's one of the most successful Broadway musicals of all time.
Yeah.
It's actually really cool. I don't know if you've watched it at all.
I've
listened to some of the soundtrack. It's freaking cool, dude. It's like spoken word rap. It's really, really interesting.
I still think that it's completely within their right, but I think it's a pretty low move to do. I think it's a low blow. He's not even the VP yet. He's the Vice President-elect.
Well, they
haven't
titled
done anything
him
yet
and addressed him as the VP-elect.
Yes, but they haven't done anything yet. Like, wait until they suck to criticize them, or if they don't.
Well, he was just saying I think they were just saying if you do. I mean, we're anxious, but they also said we hope that you uphold us. I mean. Nothing. They didn't sound like they condemned him.
No, it could have been done less professionally. And the reason he was saying there's nothing to boo here is because when the VP-elect came in initially, the entire crowd and everything like that was booing them. None of the cast members, I don't think, to my knowledge, or anything like that.
No, cast members told the audience
but it was just
to not
the
boo
audience
him.
that was booing him, so that's why they said that. But it's just, dude, if the scenario was flipped, this would be a much bigger story. And there would be either sexism or racism or something like that thrown at it. And I don't know. Like I said, it's definitely their right to say whatever they want. They can do that. I just think it was kind of a low blow. But, I mean, they did do it respectfully. I still think it's a low blow. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah. I think that's fine. Like, there's a low blow. Move on with your life. I don't know why. Honestly, I don't know why Trump keeps talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. And if you keep
Trump's
talking
had
about
like
it,
8 tweets about it by now. And I'm like,
well, he can't let anything go. Ego's playing.
And yet, but he's the president now. All right, so if you want to move into the main topic,
let's move into it. So this is a pretty, honestly, alarming topic. It's sad that kind of the state of the union, like the state of the media, has come to this. But I think if there's one thing that this election has really shown people, and that people have spoken out against, it's the media. I mean, we talked about this in our election reactions, is that the biggest loser in all of this, in my opinion, is the media. And I think
is America.
Sorry.
Yeah,
there we go. No, it's the mainstream media, and it's because people didn't listen to them. They didn't buy into it, and I think that's becoming even more and more relevant now when people are realizing that, not everything that the media says is correct, and a lot of it is just outright lies and blanket lies, and we've seen evidence of this in some of these recent stories.
Yeah. So this is mainly stemming from a lot of people turning, mostly the main media outlets, of course, turning to blame Facebook for Trump winning, and the fact that most of the news and a lot of what got circulated about the election was on Facebook. I guess Facebook has a news feed, and it was just completely false. And so they're blaming Facebook and telling Facebook, like, listen, if you're gonna allow news on your platform, you need to curate it, essentially, and so you need to vet it. You need to make sure that it's only true things going out, and because it does have a lot of influence. There's a lot of people that get the majority of their news from Facebook, and so if it is just fake news that they're seeing, that's a misinformed opinion, and that's a misinformed voter, and that's not good.
It's just
there's also
hypocritical.
Yeah, it's very. I think they're trying to find someone to blame.
Yeah. And they're also trying to draw people back to them.
Exactly. And so just to quickly run through a couple other things that, this critique of media and the critique of what you read online and the critique of what you hear on television, I think is very healthy, personally. We have a Louisiana college student came forward or said that she was assaulted and robbed of her wallet and hijab by two men, one of whom was wearing a white Trump hat. Well, now it's come out that she completely made it up and it never happened. And then we have a gentleman, a gay man, who said he was hit in the face for being gay with a bottle. Mm-hmm. Turns out he hit himself. He smashed a bottle into his face.
That's a little psychotic there.
Exactly. And so, of course, like any news story, the first thing you read, or the one that's most polarizing, is going to get the most views, and it doesn't matter when the truth gets out later on.
Yeah, because the damage is done. People have already seen it.
Exactly. You're going to hear through the grapevine, oh, I heard about that chick that, oh yeah, she was attacked for being Muslim, or oh yeah, that gay guy, he got hit at a bar. And someone might try to come and be like, well, actually, those were inaccurate. No one's going to care. Like, as soon as you start spreading that, word of mouth travels way faster than fact checking, as we've seen with the presidential election. And so I think it's just, we wanted to talk about this, and we want to talk about, is it Facebook's job or is it the news station's job to
credit their sources, kind of
credit their sources? Is it up to, do you think that the individual is maybe passing the buck a little bit, and that people need to do their own homework? I just kind of want to get your take on this.
Yeah. In an ideal world, yes, I 100% think that the people are not doing their homework well enough. They're not checking multiple sources to see if they line up. Because frankly, people don't have the time, man. They go through their busy lives, they come home, they have dinner with their family or whatever, and then they watch the news for, an hour or so, and then day starts over again.
And it usually sucks, and it's usually depressing.
And then they're not going to be like, wait, hold on, I want to go make sure this crappy news that I heard is actually true. Let me go look it up and validate this, Mm-hmm. And obviously that doesn't speak to everyone, but that speaks to a large amount of people. And I think that news stations definitely need to take the time to credit their sources. And I think that, I don't know, there's so many news stories that they put out there and stuff like that are just not true. And it's because a lot of times they're focused on ratings and they're focused on clicks. So before they get all the information, they'll just put it out there. People will click on it, like you said in the first story, and then people don't know.
And then they can cover their backs but put out the real story and say, oh, sorry, we were wrong, but that doesn't matter.
Exactly, it doesn't matter because they already got all the ratings and they already got all the clicks from the first story.
Mm-hmm.
So, in an ideal world, you would have, people fix that problem and just move to a different news station. But, these news stations are huge. They're not CNN, MSNBC,
they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, Fox, they're not going anywhere.
I think,
as far as Facebook news, I'm really not a fan of Facebook news. I think it's a lot of the stuff on Facebook is total crap. I don't really like it. And then plus we've talked about this a little bit, but it's very it's basically you just get whatever you like based on what you like and based on what you comment on and stuff like that.
Their
Facebook
algorithm
keeps feeding you that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't give you a very wide view of news. You know what I mean? It doesn't give you a wide selection.
You're not going to get conflicting views. Like, you're not going to get a pro-Hillary and a pro-Trump story on your news feed. You're going to get the one or the
whichever
other,
one
most
you
likely.
like most. You're just going to keep
Exactly.
getting that. So it's just so important that people go out and at least try and find one other source that will say the same thing about a story. You know what I mean? If you're not going to take the time to really do your due diligence, at least try and find one other source, I would say. You know what I mean? Because there's so much false stuff out there now. And it's getting to the point where you almost can't believe anything you read. You know?
Well, so, all right, so just I'll jump into my point on that. I mean, I very much am way more skeptical than Jared about things that I see on the internet. I mean,
Definitely.
I don't whenever I read something, it's the first thing I don't think is, oh, that's crazy. I think is this real? And I really think that right now, especially with the internet coming to like becoming what it is in our lifetime, we're at an interesting point because we have a lot of the older people that were around before the internet, when it was just the news stations and when there was journalistic integrity and where the facts mattered.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Exactly. And so I think a lot of people, older people, who grew up that way, I mean, they were able to take what they saw on the news verbatim and they were able to believe it because that's how it worked back then.
Yeah.
But now that the internet's come around, there's not this barrier to entry of being on TV, so you must be real. Anyone can post anything on the internet. And so you get a lot of these people in this generation that just see it on the internet and think, oh, it looks professional. It's on the internet. It's probably true. I'll share this on Facebook.
Yeah.
And they don't take the time because they didn't have to.
Especially
and you really can't
on
blame
Facebook,
them.
man. Like, people will just repost it
Yes.
and share stuff without even reading the content or anything like that.
Exactly. The headline is all that really
Headlines,
matters. I
it's
mean,
totally
half the
headlines.
Yeah. And so I think I think we're changing, and in the future, we're already seeing these independent news stations or people or personalities pop up that are giving new takes on this information, and I think that's where we're going to be heading towards. It's no longer going to be these giant too big to fail news networks that don't really have to be legit.
Yeah.
You're going to see these individual ones that are going to live and die on whether or not they're validated. You know, I mean, it doesn't do much good if a news thing pops up on the internet and they start throwing off these just sensational headlines. I mean, they're going to get clicks in the beginning, and then people are going to realize it's full of crap, and they're going to die away.
Yeah.
And so I think we're going to see a resurgence of this. It's going to be pretty bad for a while, I think. And I don't think it's on Facebook to curate their news. I mean, I think it's on the person to do some like quit passing the buck, man. I mean, don't take anything for granted.
No, it stops with the individual and it stops with the person who believes it and shares it or whatever, or then goes and then talks to people about it. That's ultimately the person who needs to be responsible for it. However, you know, in a perfect world, you would have much more credible sites that when you go and look at it, it would be, you know, a lot more. And news is never going to be 100% accurate because stories do change. Yep. However, you know, obviously the goal is to make it as accurate as possible and not having to go through and, you know, say, hey, you know, the original story wasn't true. This is what we're putting out. This is the real story, because so many people don't even see that part.
Yeah, I mean, the fact-checking thing is, like, it doesn't really matter if you can get that first story out that's sensational.
Yeah.
And, like, we even have the big networks where, like, CNN was doing a big story, and they were talking about they're talking about all these hate crimes that have been happening since Trump won the president election.
Yeah.
But if you look into it and you actually do your research and don't just read the headline, I mean, you find out CNN isn't counting assaults against white people as hate crimes.
Yeah, no, it's baffling, man. I mean, it's totally baffling. So
yeah, and then there's the other study from The Verge that just put out an article about this, that they did a study and students can't tell the difference between sponsored content on Facebook and real news, which sponsored would be what you want to see, and then of course news would be legit stuff. But I mean, people, it's very hard. I mean, you have to you can't really believe anything. You have to be like, well, is this?
You need to double check everything.
Exactly. You need to make sure that there's sources. You need to make and it's some things, especially if it falls in line with what you believe. I mean, you're gonna want to latch onto it. You're gonna be like, oh, this is what I believe in. Like this should be true.
Yeah, and then you're gonna want to share it and tell everyone about it, and you need to really validate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this story with CNN, man, this gets me. It doesn't make any sense at all. It's ridiculous, and I don't know why they keep doing this to themselves.
Yeah.
They just keep losing.
I mean, it makes sense to them. It pushes their agenda.
It does push their agenda, but I mean,
I would say,
I don't know, man. I mean, you've seen so many people speak out against that. I mean, maybe they're just okay with that, and they think that that's the direction that the country's going, so they're willing to kind of take the hits now. But it's just, I don't know, man. It's not very much integrity there, in my opinion.
No. I mean, I don't think
it's been long gone.
CNN would be. Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that's any surprise to anyone.
No, at all.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And then when it just comes when there's so much stuff coming out about students and stuff like that, not really realizing if, like you said, if stuff is sponsored or if it's real news, and they take a lot of stuff just based on what their friends share on Facebook, and I think that's really dangerous because students, younger people now are the future of the country, and if this is what they get used to their views being shaped around and being informed in this way, and they continue to live their whole life being informed like that, that's a pretty dangerous thought.
Yeah.
So I don't know, we wanted to talk about it, and we just really wanted to press that you need to validate your sources, question everything with boldness, really. And if you have to err on one side, it's better to err on the side of skepticism to really be sure something's true. Yeah, and I mean, ultimately I do too. But it's more important to make sure that your facts are right than to be the first person in the room to say, hey, did you hear about this kind of thing? You know what I mean?
But I mean, the way the internet works, that's not.
It's not how it works at all. Well, it's because nobody has to take responsibility for their actions on the internet.
Very true.
That's the reason why. Anyone can just put anything out, and if it's false, nothing happens. If it's great, sure, you get some credibility, but it's not like you really get that much, you don't get attacked that much. I don't know. People don't have to take responsibility for their actions on the internet, so I think that's really a lot of the reason. I mean, that's definitely why you have so much, commenting and all that kind of stuff, and hate and cyberbullying. No, I'm sorry. That's important. So.
I don't know, man. Because I mean, that's true. Like it's more important to be right than to be first, but that is the opposite.
It's almost not that way on the internet.
Exactly. So I don't know what you do. Like, I don't know how you
combat it. Yeah.
How you fix that, because, I mean, look at Trump. He said some horrible things, but I mean, it got him. He got so much free publicity. Can't talk today. Yep.
Nailed it.
With his election, like, he spent, I don't even know, like a fraction of what Hillary spent, but he was on the news
way less,
way more.
Yeah.
And for better or for worse, I mean, there's the classic saying, any publicity is good publicity. So, I mean, he won. So I don't know if it was necessarily bad, but I mean, these just inflammatory things and this stuff that people will just say or wrong. I mean, I don't know what you do. And I just think it's important that as a citizen, as a consumer, you need to make sure that what you're reading is true. Make sure that you're not just getting sucked into something that you want to believe, and that it is actually something you can stand behind.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know if there's really any one clear answer. I mean, until people really start taking responsibility for themselves and their actions, which I think some people will do and do, but I think, a lot of people, it's just never going to happen. So I don't know if there is, a real clear way to fix it, but I think it's just important for those of you who are aware of it to really be checking your sources and stuff like that. And anytime, you see stuff like that, obviously don't go and do hate comments and be a troll and be a loser, because nobody likes that. Nobody cares about it, and you'll just instantly be discredited. But, do your homework. And if you find it something is credited and it disproves what they said, I don't know. I think you should post about it and just bring to light about these kind of a lot of these fake news articles that come out and stuff like that, because that's the only way that you're going to really spread awareness about it is disprove it really with facts.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of fascinating where now we almost have before there was secrecy through a lack of information, like back they had like you really didn't know what you didn't know.
Yeah, that's a good
nowadays
point.
there's secrecy because there's too much information and there's so many
true.
fake stories. And how are you supposed to know what's true and what's not when there's all getting thrown at you all the time, And so things are going to slip through the cracks that people just throw off as fake or that are real, or they think they're real and they're fake, and it's dangerous. And I really think it's something that we're going to have to be paying attention to moving forward.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a good point because, like you said, anyone can really put anything on the internet and create a website and just start putting stuff out there.
So
exactly. I mean, we do it, and some people listen to us and watch it and believe it.
Yeah.
Crazies. But no, yeah, I mean, like we said, always. That's why we put sources and stuff like that for pretty much, for a lot of the stuff that we throw out there, just because we think it's really important for there to be, for everything to be validated that we say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So,
well, shall we move on to our pick of the week?
Let's do it. This is great. All right. This just warms my heart. All right, so if you guys if you guys haven't seen this video, check it out. It's Tucker Carlson on Fox News. He interviews a kid who was on from Hampshire College, I guess. And basically,
New Hampshire, right? Was it New Hampshire?
It just says Hampshire College. It makes sense if it's from New Hampshire. Anyways, this college banned all American flags. If you can't tell, we kind of like the American flag. If you haven't noticed that by now,
it's not even the flag. All right,
it's what it stands for. Exactly. And
infuriates.
So the president of this college took down all of the flags. There's not a flag up in the entire campus because instead of focusing on the flag, they want to focus on racial injustices. LGBTQIA something. I don't know.
Well, let's talk about why they took them down. They took them down because students were burning them.
Yeah, no, exactly. And students were burning them. And so this is what this kid said on the interview. He said, think about the groups that the flag think about the groups that use the flag, from the police officers to the U.S. Army. These are the forces that make oppression happen.
Yeah.
It's scary that these kids actually believe that.
They think that.
They think that way.
The military and
the police officers are
actively oppressing people.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Dude, honestly,
man?
and this is my whole, like, we talked about it earlier with the Texas cop being executed and stuff like that. If these people are actually being taught this and they believe it, it's clearly wrong, but, like, we shouldn't be that shocked that this kind of stuff happens. Like, we have seen video after video after video of, like, parents telling their kids, like, these cops aren't here to support you, they're out to get you. And
we see the bad videos. I mean, we see the bad videos. The bad videos get publicity of the cops.
Yeah, there's bad cops. Not all cops are good. We're not saying that at all.
But what I'm saying is they're in the public eye. No one talks about the cop that got the meth dealer off the street or saved. You don't hear about that.
No, you don't at all. And it's insane that these people are actually taught this and they actually believe it. And this kid goes on to argue that all of these, the army and the police officers and stuff like that, are making oppression happen, and it's more important for us to just take down the flag, and we don't need to focus on that because we need to focus on these racial issues and gay rights issues and like all this kind of stuff. And it's just insane that the American flag offends people. You know what I mean?
Well, first it was the Confederate flag, and then now all the flags. We should just take flags down.
All the flags down. No more state flags.
They're rectings. I don't know, man.
Yeah, they're scary shapes.
Too many sides.
It was great because he started off in the interview asking the kid. The
interviewer was great.
Yeah,
dude.
that was great. He asked him where else he would want to be, what other country he would want to be in, that would treat black people or minority groups or anything like that any fairer. And of course, the kid had no answer at all. No answer.
Well, the kid said here would be the best, and it's no crap.
Yeah, no crap.
And now that's not to say that just because there aren't people worse that isn't that we can't do things better.
No, obviously.
But it's just understand what you're arguing for. Like, our flag represents the pinnacle of equality in the world.
Yeah.
is what the kid agreed to.
Yeah.
And so to say that this country is the best thing and then to burn the flag.
That doesn't speak to making it even better at all. It speaks to burning it down.
Yeah. Just infuriating.
Yeah. No, it's insane. And if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. It's a great laugh. And
link will be in the description below.
If you don't laugh, then you're probably going to be crying just out of the sheer stupidity.
Or they might be triggered.
Or you might be triggered. Yeah. That's not a safe space, so watch out. All
right, we're going to move on to my pick of the week, which is going to be a little bit more lighthearted. So throughout the whole election cycle, there has been a great source of relief from the tiring political talks, and I've absolutely loved watching their skits. SNL has been killing it this whole election cycle. There have been so many great skits. Of course, making fun of Hillary, Donald Trump. I think they've been very fair between the two of them. It's been great, but specifically, I want to talk about the one that came out after this newest election called The Bubble.
This one's good.
And if you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. It's just perfectly done, and it's scary because I could totally see people being like, "This is a good idea."
I really could see it being real.
Oh my gosh! So it talks about people being like, "Oh, the world's going to crap in America because Trump's elected. Don't worry, come to this bubble because we'll just support your views and not think of anything else." It's just great, dude. It's really good. I highly recommend watching it. Did you watch Election Night?
Yeah.
With Dave Chappelle?
Oh yeah.
That was
funny.
Amazing too.
Yeah.
That was so funny. I would also recommend Bubble and Election Night to just absolutely
they had
stellar.
Some good ones. I mean, dude.
SNL skits.
Let's be honest. Their content has basically been writing itself ever since he's gotten elected.
Exactly.
With all these people freaking.
They
out.
just take the transcripts from each one of their debates and they just reread them.
They just redo it, and then you're good to go.
And I usually don't even like SNL. I think some of their humor is a little weird. I don't totally get it, but these election ones have been just amazing. Yeah. And so I highly recommend watching both of those. Dave Chappelle is hysterical.
The SNL Bubble is great.
The Bubble is so good. And then I love at the end when they're like, we have no fire or police because we can't convince any of them to actually come into the bubble. We can't convince
them to come in.
And it's like they're so good because they're self-deprecating and then they're also they're really, I think, pretty even on who they go after, and I think they've been great. So
yeah, they did well.
Shout out to SNL.
They did well, and the SNL Bubble is hysterical. Definitely go check it out.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, I think we'll wrap it up here then. So as always, guys, thanks for listening to the Peanut Gallery podcast. If you want to come alongside and offer your insignificant and unprofessional opinions, be sure and comment below. Check us out on SoundCloud at Beyond Borders. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram there too. Last week we took off because of Thanksgiving, so we'll be back to normal, releasing this one and kind of doing the Peanut Gallery podcast, uploading that every Monday, and then another video later in the week. So be sure and always check us out. Hope you guys had a great holiday, and remember, we're all a little nuts.